Rachel Dolezal.
Ah, my sweet Nubian Neanderthal. My sweet milk of magnesia.
Okay. So, when you first heard about the Rachel Dolezal story, what was the first thing that went through your mind?
First thing that went through my mind is, motherfucker, if you accept Bruce Jenner, you gotta accept this bitch right here. That's what went through my mind. Okay? This woman has always felt like she was black, to the point where she went to Howard University and all that type of shit.
Well, and I remember her parents were saying that as a kid, when she would like draw herself, she would use like a tan marker.
There you go. So that only confirms she has more evidence for wanting to be this than your man Bruce has. Because he only has a couple people that say, yeah, he told me that back in the days. But we don't have any concrete. It's not like, Bruce tried to join the female Olympics and was rejected or some shit like that. Or there's no record of Bruce, up until now. And we're taking the word from a handful of people, an ex-wife who could have been paid off. A couple of his mother says, yeah, Bruce said he wanted to be a girl, but there's no real paper trail to his shit other than he's 60-something years old now, right? And now he says, I want to be a broad. Whereas at least she got a paper trail. She been coloring herself in as brown. She went to Howard. She got all kind of, you know what I mean? She's going out her way to get weaves that look black. This woman got more black hairstyles than most sisters got. You can see her in more pictures where she's trying to make her hair look like she's of the original flavor than most sisters is out here getting the straight joints and she's getting the curly weave and she's getting the braids and she's wrapping them up. She did all kind of shit. Like, I'm like, now here's the thing. Is it bizarre? Yes.
It is bizarre.
Just as bizarre as anybody who claims to be something that they're not.
Well, I mean, for example, I'm Caucasian.
Yes.
I work within an African American field.
Yes, you do.
Vlad TV is a hip hop site.
Right.
We mostly interview African Americans. A lot of my staff is African American. Most of my managers, that work for me are African American.
And you as a person, your sensibilities lean more towards black culture.
I would agree.
Now, you haven't gone as far as she did, where you're trying to make your skin look more browner. With her, orange is the new black because she's out here
tanning.
Yeah, but she looks
Spray
orange.
tan. Spray tan.
Okay, so you don't do that, and you don't go out of the way to try to make your hair look like it's an afro or some shit.
Well, you know something? Hold on. Okay, that's actually an interesting point. Now that you said that, do you know Third Base?
Yes.
Okay. You know MC Search?
Yes. I remember he used to rock the high top fade and all of that type of shit.
MC Search had the high top fade, which was a very black hairstyle at the time.
Yes.
Like, white people never had a high top fade.
Right.
And back then, that was the thing in the 80s.
And that was crazy that he did that. Like,
she put in the little,
he had to.
Now, he never claimed to be black.
No.
I believe he's Jewish, right?
Yes.
But
he been about that black shit.
Right. And
for a long time.
And
he married a black woman.
Married a black woman.
Child is black.
Oh, so he has kids?
Yeah. He's been with her he's been with his wife.
Oh, so he's still with the same girl that from way back when?
Yes. And they have, I just saw some pictures on Facebook where his daughter graduated, college or something, like a really good college.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So
he got a black family.
So what's the difference between MC Search rocking a high top fade and Rachel having African American looking braids in her hair?
Well, first of all, I wasn't finished with you.
Okay. All right. We can get back to
We're going to get back to you real quick.
Okay.
Because although you don't do that, right? But what you do, the way you dress is more black.
Yep.
The way you talk is more black.
Yep.
So there's different degrees to everything. Okay.
I'll give you one further. Because I keep myself off camera most of the time, what I hear a lot
is that they thought you was black.
Wow, Vlad is white?
Right.
When I was on Love and Hip Hop, Vlad is white. Like I was seeing tweet after tweet after tweet after tweet after tweet. Now, I've never purposely, like this wasn't done to try to make people think I was black.
Right.
But the effect was that people thought I was black.
Right. See, you know, the difference between people like you and I think the problem that people have with this Rachel broad is that she's disingenuous.
Yeah.
She's straight up lying. Like it's one thing to say I'm white and I fuck with black culture and that, but to try to look black, associate yourself with traditionally black organizations, even though white people are the ones that created the NAACP in the first fucking place.
Right, and there's been white NAACP leaders.
Of course there is, because it's a white organization. It's not necessarily a black organization. That being said, though, it's thought of as a black organization, and to be the president of it, and to say
president of a Washington chapter,
right, of the Washington chapter, yes, Spokane. To say that you're black and to say that this black man was your father,
right,
and it was just too much disingenuous shit.
Well, and she also talked about, because I guess she's a professor of African American studies.
Okay.
And I guess in some of her lectures, she talked about how her parents beat her.
Yeah, and it was similar to the whips that...
Yeah, like, you know, they beat her for being black, or, you know, how hard, you know, the discrimination she went through for being black growing up, which is just kind of bizarre.
See?
Bizarre is the only word I could really think.
It is bizarre. It's just as bizarre as when a man says, I've always felt like a woman and I want to be a woman now. Or a woman says, I always felt like a man and I want to be a man now. It's just as fucking bizarre. It's just as abnormal. So if we're going to look at her as bizarre and as a liar and disingenuous, then we got to look at these transgender motherfuckers the same way.
Well,
if we accept this transgender motherfuckers, then we got to accept her. So give this bitch her reality show, get this bitch a commendation from fucking Barack, and get this bitch a fucking cover on Vanity Fair ASAP. Period.
Well, Talib Kweli spoke on this.
Yeah, he said you're not one of us or some shit like that.
You're not down with us. He said, Rachel is not a friend or an ally to the movement, but rather an enemy to black people who don't identify with her in any way, shape, or form. He said, I've seen people asking, well, why can Caitlyn Jenner identify as a woman? I'm no expert, but it seems to me that there's specific evidence that shows that people can be born with a gender identity that they don't identify with. But I haven't seen any specific evidence.
There is no evidence of that.
And I looked that says
now he's promoting some shit that's not right. But go ahead.
He says, but I haven't seen any specific evidence, and I've looked, that says you can be born one race and identify as another.
Listen, it's all in your mind. Okay? See, what I wish you would have said is, when they said, "Are you black?" I wish you would have said, "You know what? Yeah, I identify as black as a, because I'm paying homage to the people that, proliferated civilization on this planet. And I'm ashamed of the shit that white people have done historically on this planet. And I don't want to be a part of that race." See, she had a chance to say some deep shit, but she didn't say shit. She ran. So you're supposed to be a fucking know about what did you say? Black, what did she study? A professor of what?
African American studies.
African American studies. You ain't study shit. Because you had a chance to say some black shit at that time, but see, you just want to look black. But here's my thing. I feel like she has more of a chance of knowing what it's like to be black than any of these transgender motherfuckers could ever know what it's like to be the opposite sex that they're not. Okay, I'm sure this woman has ran into discrimination before in her life just for acting black. Even if they knew she was white, I'm sure she's suffered discrimination from other white people for being a nigger lover, basically.
Well, but she actually presented herself
Right,
as black, so she would have some of the discrimination that other black people would have because people assume that she's black based on her hair.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. And even if they thought she was black, well, then now you're suffering discrimination as a black person. Right. But guess what? A transgender is never going to know, what it feels like to get your period and go through PMS or fucking menopause or fucking, what it is to give birth to a child, which are all a lot of the things that constitute being a woman. Even when they get the fucking estrogen and all of that, and it might fuck with their emotions, they're still not gonna be able to look at the world in the perspective of how a true woman is gonna look at the world. So cosmetically, you're just giving yourself some titties, you cutting off your dick, you still not, nobody's sewing in no ovaries for you. Right. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna truly know what it is to be a woman. You're cosmetically doing it just like she cosmetically trying to make herself look like she was black. And she's a liar. And you're a liar too. How many of these transgender broads go out here and try to get a regular dude and fool him and they lie and say that they all the fucking time.
In fact, I interviewed Sidney Starr.
Right.
And
he, stop saying she, because every time you submit to their fucking pronouns, you fucking are going along with the fucking shit. He said what?
So Sidney Starr said that that Sidney is not interested in gay men.
Right. He wants
straight men.
Straight men.
And
he said,
I've asked Sidney if he or she has ever had sex with a straight man,
and he said,
not told.
You're goddamn right, I have. So what? So what's so beautiful about a lifestyle that's based in lies, where you have to lie to get what the fuck you want, and then they'll say that it's our fault for putting them in the position where they have to lie. I didn't put you in that position.
Right. Well, the one thing like I can say about my personal situation is that I have never told anyone that I was anything other than white, ever in life.
It would be hard.
Yeah, I remember one of the weirdest emails I ever got. One of the weirdest emails I ever got. And I'm not even sure who this was, but it was right after Isaac Hayes had died. And someone emailed me and said, I just found out that Isaac Hayes was your father. I am so sorry for your loss. And I'm thinking, if there's anyone who doesn't look like me on this world, it would be Isaac Hayes. Like, just, physically we were just very different.
So you know what a lot of white people used to do back in the days? Was front like they was Spanish. See, that was I knew white boys that would get the Caesar, you know what I mean? Okay. But I mean black Spanish, like that New York.
Dominican.
Well, what I mean is
Puerto Rican.
How Spanish are in New York, meaning that black people and Puerto Ricans and Dominicans are so close to each other in New York City that, a lot of Puerto Ricans from New York have that black style about them, like, you know what I mean? So this was the way that a lot of white people, because it was going to seem ridiculous for them to say they was black, but they might could get over as a Puerto Rican or some shit. Like
That's a much easier sell.
And I knew a lot of white girls that would try to talk like, like they fucking, they from fucking Washington Heights or something, and it's like, bitch, you white, stop fronting. You know what I mean? But shit, you've also had white people though, that for the longest time, I knew white people coming up that used to act black and used to say, I hate white people.
Really?
Yes.
It's kind of weird.
They say, I hate white people. They so stupid. This is white people saying this to other black people though, because they wanted to be black. Like they really wanted to be black, but they would never say I'm black, but they really truly wanted to be black. To the point where, they had their own self-hatred. But now fast forward, these were kids. Fast forward, these same, and a couple of them were girls, these same girls that they used to fuck with nothing but black dudes, these motherfuckers married white dudes now and got their white life and they don't talk the same as that they used to live. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Well, one thing that Talib says, which I thought was kind of interesting, he said, she said that she identifies as black. Cool story, but that's not a real thing because at any time she could go back. That is a privilege that people of color do not have.
Right.
He said that her statement was very disrespectful.
At any time, a transgender could get his titties taken out and put a fake dick on and be a man again. What's the difference?
Same kind of difference.
It's the same fucking thing.
And he brings up the time that she sued Howard University for discrimination. He said that she has a history of taking advantage of the situation. So she sued Howard as a white person.
Right.
You know about the story?
No.
Okay, so she enrolled in Howard University, and you don't have to be black to go to Howard University, but she felt that she wasn't given certain opportunities, like certain teaching assistant jobs and so forth, because she wasn't black, and she sued Howard University as a white person.
Right. So when it's convenient for you to be white and it's helpful for your shit, you're white. And see, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, tomorrow she could straighten her hair, stop tanning, and just be a white girl out here in this world and not have to suffer any discrimination. You just meld right back into white America and you're good, basically. You're good.
I mean, you got Mariah Carey. I was trying to remember some of the other people who are mixed,
Right,
but could pass as white. Mariah Carey could pass as white.
Yeah, she could.
She did for a long time. I mean, I remember when I found out that she was part black, it was like, oh, really?
Nah, I could see something in her, like something
But
was
she had
weird
long
about
blonde
how she looked.
hair.
Yeah, but something in her facial features was
Right.
like, there's something going on in it.
Right. If you're really looking for it, but the average American would look at Mariah and says, oh, it's a blonde white girl who could sing great.
See, black people who know, the diaspora of how we can be all different shades, you know what I mean? Like, my mother is mad light. Like, my mother's probably your color, like, you know what I mean? But she's black, you know what I mean?
And your father is dark skinned?
No, he's like my color, like brown. Yeah, he's like brown, maybe a little browner, but not too much.
And your kids are actually...
Came out kind of light.
Light, but your wife
is dark skinned.
Yeah. You just never know.
Well, there's a lot of fuckery that went on, so you know what I mean? It's like we got to bring the shit back, graft that shit backwards.
I mean, it's a crazy story. It's a crazy story.
Just as crazy as Bruce Jenner.
But
just as fucking crazy.
But certain
and I say Bruce is crazier. His story's crazier. Just as absurd. Just as deceitful.
Certain celebrities have actually...
Well, no, not as deceitful. I'm sorry, maybe not.
He was straightforward with it.
Yes.
He wasn't telling everyone he was a woman for all these years.
Although I think anyway, never mind.
Well, Carrie Hilson spoke out for Rachel.
Okay.
Said we should thank NAACP President Rachel Dolezal. I believe Whoopi Goldberg said if she wants to be black, she can be black.
Right. Here's the thing. If she wanted to be a man, she'd be a hero right now. She fucked up by wanting to be black. That's where she fucked up in white America's eyes. You want to be black? Oh, you crazy. You see? If she wanted to be an animal, they probably would have accepted that before wanting to be black. Yeah, you're going to be trans species.
Right. Talib actually brings up a movie called Soul Man. Soul Man was about a rich white kid with rich parents.
Okay.
Who got accepted to Harvard. His parents were going to pay for his college, but ended up buying like a condo in the Bahamas or something with the money, and said, you're gonna have to pay for it yourself. He went to apply for financial aid at Harvard, and they basically said that financial aid is for
black people.
No, financial aid is for kids who have poor parents, not who have asshole parents. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So he didn't qualify for financial aid, but there was a scholarship for African Americans.
Right.
So he got with his buddy who worked for some like tanning company and just took a bunch of these, like overdid these tanning pills.
Right.
Put on like a wig that was like a Jerry curl, at
right.
the time Jerry curls were the thing, and enrolled in Howard as a black person.
Right.
And fell in love with like Ray Don Chong or something. And I think like in the process he found out that he actually took her scholarships.
Right.
And felt bad about it.
Right.
James Earl Jones I think was like a professor and blah blah blah. And it was basically the story. Then at one point he just came back and he was white. And,
right.
And so forth. And it was the same type of thing. He was a white person pretending to be black. And the one thing that I actually saw on Twitter, which I want to talk to you about, is that a lot of people on Twitter, particularly white people, were hashtagging it black privilege.
Black privilege.
Yes. So that she got to where she was by black privilege. That's how she became an NAACP president. That's how she became a professor. That's why she got certain speaking opportunities and that type of thing from black privilege.
The fuck is black privilege in America? Are you fucking serious? If anything, the fact that she really was white probably is why she got all those fucking opportunities. She's white, pretending to be black, moving within black organizations, but using her whiteness to get further, is how I would see it. Black privilege, like that's fucking ridiculous. Like, there is no black privilege in America.
No such thing?
No. Black privilege? No. Show me when, the police show up to the scene with some black motherfuckers who might be wilding out and don't do nothing.
Being a rapper, do you feel that you have an advantage, that a person has an advantage being black in hip hop? Would that be an example of black privilege?
Does a person have an advantage by being black in hip hop? Of course they do, because this is a black genre. So
it's the house of hip hop.
Yeah, so you have an advantage just because you are part of the original culture that created the shit.
So is that black privilege?
In a small way. It's not any kind of black privilege that translates into the world, though. Into the true world. Like, okay, you're black and I'm going to listen to you before I listen to another white boy.
Right. I mean, so for example, if there was like two, like in your point of view, someone brought a rap song from a black artist you've never heard of and a white artist you've never heard of, which one would you listen to first?
I'd probably listen to the black one first, of course. Right. But that's not about privilege. That's because most white dudes are not that good. Like it's an anomaly when white guys are good. I want to hear the best hip hop I can hear. So now but see, there's a lot of shit that go into it. I might look at the two covers, and if fucking the black dude is wearing some shit like what Little B just had on in that fucking interview, then I'm gonna listen to the white boy shit first. Okay? How about that?
This situation, Diddy's a multimillionaire. His son has been going to that school for a few years now. Never heard of any situations. Clearly something happened where Diddy felt his manhood was being disrespected, or he was in some sort of danger.
A motherfucker in this day and age will do anything if they feel like it's gonna go viral. You know what I mean? If motherfuckers is gonna be talking about it, shit, I'll do whatever.